Good morning. It's the last day of August 2021. Pleasant temperature. Going up fairly warm today, 27. Maybe, I don't know, 18 or something like that now. There are thunderstorms in the forecast, and the clouds are interesting in the sky for that reason. And there has been some rain, it looks like, overnight. But it's very pleasant right now, so I should get in a nice walk. I'm going to stick to the neighborhood today, more or less. Just walk through Cathedral. I thought I'd walk along the commercial strip of 13th Avenue and then go up to Victoria and walk out on west to where it curves around and turns into Pasco Street. And if I make my way home from there, maybe back along the dike, something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. There's sort of a slow cool down happening in the forecast, so we are heading into fall. Not there yet, but it's coming. And then, of course, winter is coming. And we had that phrase long before George R.R. Martin used it in Game of Thrones. So we're on Angus Crescent here. Seeing a few more campaign signs. As I said, I'll never put one up in my yard. There's a reason for the secret ballot. I don't have to tell anybody who I vote for. Good morning, Kirk from Vancouver. I'm about an hour later than I normally would be because it was a little sprinkly when I first got up, and I wanted to see how that developed. It's like that house that has like the turret, and it's got, I don't know, it's just a kind of a Victorian look. It's kind of appealing. Hi, Roger. We'll go straight up Angus here to 13th and then head west on 13th. Here's my plan. I don't feel like walking along Albert this morning. I've already got a song stuck in my head, and it's Walking in Memphis, which makes no sense because I'm not walking in Memphis. Nowhere close to Memphis. I have walked in Memphis, although not live streaming since it was like 1978, but when I was at university, because we were not that far from Memphis, Searcy, Arkansas. Like an hour drive or something. 2 hours? I don't know. I never drove it, but I rode in a car. Someone else was driving. Walked in Nashville too, but I don't think there's a song about walking in Nashville. See the kind of dramatic sky over there as the showers move around. So downtown is in that direction. The lighting's interesting because the sky's blue, but the sun's not actually shining. There's clouds overhead, so it makes for more interesting lighting effect. Also easier to read any comments anybody posts. Condos over here. It's a very nice breeze. It's just cool enough to be pleasant without being chill-inducing. So somebody that lived in here briefly. I mean, they lived in here briefly, not that I just knew them briefly. Nice landscaped. These are cherry trees, and there's cherries, crushed cherries on the sidewalk. I wondered what that squishy feel under my feet was, and that's what it is. All these cherry trees have dropped their fruit. I doubt it's very edible fruit. Probably very, very sour. Anyway, I'm not scooping any up. Oh, well, here you can see some right there. But I doubt it's edible. Here's the intersection where I had a car totaled once. Someone came around the corner there while I was watching what somebody over here was doing, because it looked like they were going to turn in front of me. And when they didn't, I went on and didn't see the one that had come around that corner, or possibly out of the alley. I don't know where it came from. From my point of view, it came out of nowhere, but of course that was my fault. And because the car was so old, it was totaled. But no injuries. It was just a huge inconvenience for everyone. And didn't do my driving record any good. Oh, it is looking very autumny here. Cherries on the trees and on the sidewalk. Yellow leaves starting to show up more and more. That one's kind of ahead of the game, but you know, there's always these overachiever trees. First ones to drop their leaves. Let's get it over with. I'm tired of having leaves. Let's call it fall. My nieces used to live here once upon a time, not for a long time now. So I've been to that one. Angus Lodge, it's called. That's the the Terra building up ahead of us. Used to be the Saskatchewan Wheat Pool. I'd like to walk down the other side of the street, so to get across this one without getting run over. Here's the Artesian, a former Church of God, I think it was. Turned into a performance space, which I performed in, and had a book launch in the basement. It has a really nice lounge down there. Very small, but appropriate for a small book launch. Good, we can cross. Cathedral Social Hall over there, where I like to write sometimes. All right, now we'll walk along 13th here. Past some of the businesses along here. Shoe store. Been there a long time. Traditions Gallery. Paper Umbrella, which is a stationery store. Cup of tea, tea store. Warehouse Books, New Age books, right across, as I like to point out, from the Christian bookstore, Burns and Hanley. This used to be an IAOOF hall, Oddfellows. Not anymore. But when it was an IAOOF hall, I performed in it. I sang opera in there, of a sort, children's opera. It's a nice restaurant over there, and a very popular ice cream purveyor of ice cream. Up here is our new liquor store in the neighborhood, which has been a very welcome addition. Obi store. Over there's where I get my driver's license renewed. For some reason he's dismantling the landscaping. Liquor store. Safeway over there is our grocery store. Cathedral Neighborhood Center. I've been in there many times for this and that. Alice did an art class in there at one point, I remember. It's a city facility. There's the main entrance. Then you get the pet store, as you might guess. Cathedral Pet Stop. Don't buy in there very much. It's like most pet stores. Overrepresents dogs, underrepresents cats, if you ask me. Herbal medicine, hair and styling place. It's the Mercury Cafe, an old style diner. Good for burgers and fries and that sort of thing. Over there's the fish store where we buy our fish. A little further down is the chocolate store and the meat store and the cheese store. This is Gale's Florist, not Forest. Gale's Florist. Bought many a flower in there. Brandy's over there is where I often mail stuff. Gale's Florist. And this is a coffee shop, Coffee Roasters. Don't really get their stuff, but Westminster United there. Nice dome. Good place to sing. Euphoria. Oh, I got something in my eye. It's a bad one. Hopefully the tears will eventually wash it out. Oh, and of course here's Des Arts, which is a ice cream and candy store. Very popular. The cathedral over there that gives the neighborhood its name. Holy Rosary Cathedral. Oh, I think the tears got it out. That was painful. Speaking of painful, I have a sore spot on my elbow and nothing's showing, but it's just really hurts to touch. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know this place. Seed. Seems to be clothing. Here's the Penny University bookstore. Oh, I need to get back to them. They have something coming up that I was going to donate books to, I think, if it's not already too late. Lush Beauty Bar. An actual house, I think. No, it's not. It's got a sign. Didn't read it, though. Satori Hair Studio. Here's the 13th Avenue Coffee House. I once dated a girl who was living in this apartment building at the time. I dated her once. We went on a date, would be a better way to say that. Former nun's residence. Now, that thing's back in my eye. Now condos, very nice. Older building. It's not from the gimbal. I think it's from the armrest in the Air Canada plane yesterday is where I think it's from. Groovy Mama. Clothing. Empty lot if you wish to build a store here on 13th. Or I presume a house. I don't know how it's sold. The Hair House. Which speaks for itself. That's a colorful front. Now it's more residential over there. I was working on the computer for a couple of hours on the flight and had my arm on the armrest, and that's right where that sore spot is. So I don't know if it was something to do with the way I was moving my arm and wrist or what, but it was very sore. I discovered it last night when I rolled over and, sort of wanted to use my elbow to prop myself up, and it was like the bed had bitten me. Such a sudden, unexpected pain, and so sharp too. So I guess it's a bruise of some sort, but very unexpected and unwelcome. I'm getting an unstable internet connection warning, which I don't usually get along here, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it stays up. Cathedral Bistro. I think it was sold, and I don't think it's open at the moment. I hope it does come back. Slate Fine Art Gallery here. Not much to see right now. This is Happy High, which is a coffee and bakery that my daughter likes a lot. They know her in there. Internet connection still showing as unstable. I don't know what's brought that on. Now we'll go one block further north on Elphinstone here and cross over and walk along Victoria down by the Lawn Bowling Club. Down that way. Hopefully my live stream hasn't failed completely. It doesn't always let me know that. Hopefully I get stable connection again here in a minute. I have no control over that. All I can do is hope that it stays up and that I'm not buffering too badly. But if I am, it's still recording, and there'll be an unbuffered version later on YouTube, which is when most people watch it. That's a very long unstable internet warning. I've never seen it last that long before. So that's annoying. Okay, we'll cross this way since the light is giving us that option. We're headed down there, but we'll cross over and walk down the other side. So we go by the Lawn Bowling Club. And there's the Lawson Pool, and of course Mosaic Stadium is another couple of blocks that way. We are on Victoria, the last bit of Victoria really. Up here it just goes around the corner and turns into Pasco Street. And it still says I have an unstable internet connection. Huh. Oh well, I'm walking either way. Oh, there it goes. It finally went away. That was like 3 blocks of unstable internet connection or more. Very odd in this neighborhood. Interesting fence on this corner. This is Argyle Street. There's actually an alley up there. What if I go up and walk down the alley to be different? So an interesting decor. And I can see what these are for. I think they're holding up the fence. I think there's an alley here. Yeah. We'll go down the alley for a block just to be different. See Mosaic Stadium ahead of us. You take the high road and I'll take the alley, and I'll be at Pasqua before ye. Little known original version of that song. People think it's about Scotland. Me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Wascana. There's a short alley. There's Mosaic Stadium. The back of the Jumbotron. Looks like somebody's building a garage, possibly. Or extending the house. Me and my true love will never leave again. Meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Lochran. There we go again. Mosaic Stadium. This is the lawn club here, lawn bowling club. At least that song's in my head now instead of whatever the first one was. I've already forgotten what the first one was. Oh, it was Walking in Memphis was the first one, and now it's Bonny, Bonny Banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, well, let's take the gravel path. That's Irish, that's not Scottish. I'm not very good at Scottish. You got to get it. You got to get it back in your throat. Is how that works. And even then, I think I'm only approximating it. I would have to listen to some. I can pick up accents if I concentrate really hard and get a few tips on vowels and stuff. I did Irish in an entire play once, so I feel a bit better about that one. But I'm sure anyone from Ireland is going, "Och man, you don't sound like you're from Ireland." That would be a Scottish person who's living in Ireland. Oh, somebody's actually bowling the lawn, looks like. It's like a house that was cut down the middle by an axe. I have done a Scottish accent. As I've mentioned before, I portrayed Mayor, I think his name was Peter McCara, who was the mayor of Regina when the tornado came through in 1912. And clearly he would have had a Scottish accent because he was born in Scotland and moved as an adult, I think, or a young man to Regina. So I did do a Scottish accent as I hosted all the various things I did that day. There were a couple of talent stages, and I also took part in the main ceremony, which was in the stage down in City Center, it's called, I think. Pat Viaco's Plaza. There we go, Leslie Bowling Greens, home of the Lawn Bowling Club, which hosted, as it says here, this tells you all about it, 1932. Founded in 1912, the Regina Lawn Bowling Club operated from several locations before settling at the Leslie Bowling. Oh, look at this. Opened by Mayor James McCara, so I completely forgot his name. Peter McCara must be somebody else. So that's who I played, Mayor James McCara, for the tornado. Is he still mayor in 1932? Now I'm really confused. Was he mayor that long? As one of only 3 four-green facilities in Canada, the club has hosted several national championships in the North American Challenge. Huh. Maybe I haven't completely forgotten the name of the mayor I portrayed. All I know is he was Scottish. I thought it was McCara, or maybe there were 2 McCaras. Who knows? I know when I can look it up, but I can't right now. Anyway, so I used a Scottish accent for everything I did that day, including reading the names of the people who were killed in the tornado. That was for the centennial in 2012. And they also put up some art around the city that's still there commemorating the 1912 cyclone. We always called it a cyclone. And when we moved up here from Texas, people would say, oh, we don't get tornadoes in Saskatchewan. We get cyclones. Well, sorry. Anything that devastates the city and kills 20-some people, like the 1912 cyclone did, is a tornado. But it was like they didn't want to admit that Saskatchewan is also part of Tornado Alley in a way. Not like it is down there, but plenty of tornadoes in Saskatchewan. They're perhaps generally less powerful, but as the 1912 one shows, not always. And they tend to tear up wheat fields, and only rarely, maybe a farmyard or something, but rarely do they hit a town. And that's just a function of how more sparsely populated the province is. Middle town we lived in Texas, Tulia, was not far from a place called Hale Center, which had been hit badly by a tornado sometime long in there, late 60s. And Lubbock, Texas, where we lived, had a pretty significant tornado a few years later, I think. I think I was through there maybe with my choir from Harding, or the band, I don't remember. Maybe that was the band trip. And there was still damage visible from that tornado. So that would have been in the 70s, I guess. Mascanda Street, we were walking along it further south yesterday. Everything kind of converges here. Saskatchewan Drive to our right is not a straight street. And so even though we've been walking straight, it's been getting closer to us all this time. Down here is the corner with Louvain. You go around that corner there, you go up the railway underpass, the exhibition grounds over there. Things like that. I have taken this alley back here, but I think today I'll walk along the street because I don't think I've actually walked along the street. I think I've taken the alley prior walks around down here. So now we're looking down Pasqua Street. See the dark clouds in the distance. They're probably not that dark, but anytime the sun is shining, any significant cloud mass will suddenly look very dark underneath it. Sun always lights up this side of the street nicely in the morning. Used to be a dance school up here on the corner in an old church, but it's long gone now. Martin School of Dance. I don't know where it went. I think it still exists, but they moved out of here. But I was in there when it was a dance school, when Alice was taking dance, and for some reason we were here. Might have been after the fire burned down her dance studio, and they were looking for temporary space to hold practices and things. Don't remember for sure. Four-way stop up here, which will make it easy to cross. I actually want to be on the other side, so I think I'll cross to my left and then go across. So this is 13th again. There, that's where Martin School of Dance used to be. Now it's another one of those buildings split down the middle by an axe or a chainsaw. Well, I'm back for part two. I don't know what happened there. It just suddenly ended. I guess the internet connection went so unstable that it just shut down. So I get to splice that together for the recorded version of this, which you may be watching. Most likely that's what you're watching now, because who's going to stick with it after the feed goes away. On the other hand, somebody new might discover the second half of the feed, so we'll see. Must be something in the atmosphere. Atmospheric conditions. Maybe it's the thunderstorms that are around. They don't look like I will have to worry about thunderstorms, but we'll kind of go back through the park and back along the creek, but along this side on the high dike there, I think will be my plan today. Again, nice lighting on the houses and nice dark skies up ahead. All right, they did some new bike path here. I haven't driven along the street, so I haven't seen the markings, but I knew they were doing that. Someone's building an extension or a very skinny house? A very skinny house, I think. That's odd. Bit of front gardening going on here. See, there's some new houses sprinkled in with older houses along here, all dramatically lit by the morning sun. And of course, over there is the former school that's now Saskatchewan Express performance group, and they teach musical theater and dance and stuff like that. These are all new since a few years ago. Saskatchewan Express looking dramatic with the dark sky behind it. All the colors look dramatic with the dark sky behind it. At least my microphone stayed connected, so that's something. If you're just joining me, this is part 2, because part 1 ended abruptly a few minutes ago. I just restarted. I caught it right away, so there's not really any... You didn't miss, like my exciting walk by the 7-Eleven parking lot. That's still intact. Very green looking this morning, between the sunshine and the dark sky behind it. Pretty windy. Coming out of that possible rain over there. I walked over there yesterday, so I think I'll stay up here until we get down by the Neo-Balcol Center, then I'll walk by it. One of the new stop signs along here. Didn't used to be any stop signs on this street from Pasqua to Elphinstone, and now there are 2. Clearly they had a concern about people speeding. People crossing the street to get to the park from the houses on the left. They also have a 30-kilometer-hour speed limit along here. which has been mostly ignored over the years, I would think. I can't swear that I've always obeyed it very well. Very nice and green. There's a hill, see? It's an unusual landscape feature around here. Oh, the wind's picking up. I think I'm on the homeward stretch. There could be rain coming sooner than I would like. This is where we're walking, but the park's more interesting to look at. Hi, Joe. Welcome to part 2. Part 1 went down halfway through the feed, halfway through the walk, so I restarted this. That's why it's only been going for a few minutes, even though I'm still quite a ways from home. So if you want to see the front half, you'll have to wait till it's posted, or go back and watch the live feed. It'll still be up. But I was getting a lot of bad internet connection, so I suspect that's quite buffery, the live version of this. Since I restarted, I haven't had a bad internet warning, so hopefully better. Let's cut across the grass. Football/soccer field here, or I suppose if you're from the part of the world that calls it football, it's a football field, or an American football/football field, I guess is probably how that'd be said in, say, England. The playground over there. Probably getting a bit of wind noise, but hopefully having the lapel mic makes me still easier to hear. I guess I could have put the wind thing on it. The only time I tried it, it didn't seem to make that much difference. And it's more obtrusive because it's this little fur ball that goes on the mic. Makes it more obvious you're wearing a mic. Went that way, I'd end up back on the footbridge, but that's not the way I'm going today. I'll stay on this side of the lake, of the creek. Playground. You can see the giant beaver sculpture over there. That's what that's supposed to be. And then the Balkwell Civic Arts Center up here, which also has an art gallery in it, and they hold arts classes here. You can learn to paint here. Maybe one of these days I'll take some more art classes. I was an art minor in university, but I haven't done anything with it for a very long time. I used to draw editorial cartoons for the Weyburn Review. It's kind of the only thing I ever did with my art. They were adequate. Some of the ideas were really funny. The actual draftsmanship was pretty slap happy. We'll walk over here. So I've never taken an art class in here, but I've rehearsed shows in here a couple of times. Sung in here. art, as you can see, it says on the wall. This is the main entrance here. And that sky's getting darker and darker over there. That's to the south, so it's probably going to stay south of us, that particular dark cloud. There's public art out here. This being an art gallery. That's the seniors center behind us. Not a senior center as in a place where seniors live, but a place for seniors programming. It's a little weird for me to think that since I just turned 62, in 3 years I'll be an official senior citizen. That doesn't seem right. For some things I'm now. I can get the seniors rate. Some places go as low as 55. That always seems wrong to me, that I should take such a thing. My wife says if they offer it, take it, and I suppose that's the more practical. Now we'll walk along the dike again, along the south side this time. Yesterday was on the north. There's the creek. Oh, look at it shining in the sun this morning. With the wind ruffling it and then the sun shining, it's very sparkly over here. And also it's quite high. It's moving quite quickly by creek standards. There's a weir there that most of the time when I've walked here has been visible, and now it's completely overflown, I guess. It was a very dry summer, but then all of a sudden, in the last couple of weeks, we've been getting quite a bit of rain. That's why everything is so green all of a sudden, when it was certainly tending toward the brown before the rain arrived. Have a last gasp of green before the frost comes in 3 or 4 weeks and kills everything. The lighting is certainly interesting today with the bright sunshine and then the dark clouds, although I think the bright sunshine is about to go away. In the next few minutes it might go behind the clouds completely. I know where I'll go, a little different this time. I'll walk on around, I'll walk up Garnet Street, which will take me by the little house that I lived in for a few years before I got married. Houses on, I think, both sides of it are gone and new houses have been built, but that little one is still there. I rented it, but it was sold to someone after I moved out. I don't think it was rented again. In fact, I think they had told me they were putting it up for sale. See, if I wanted to buy it, had I not gotten married, I might be living there still. But it's a fairly small place. Works for one person. If you don't want to live too fancy. And had I not got married, I probably would be living a less fancy life, since my wife's an engineer, and therefore the family income is considerably better than what my freelance writing typically brings in, unless it's a really good year. I can't say I've had a year of that status yet, but any day now I'll be an overnight success. Quite dark. I don't know, that might be headed this way. There might be some rain coming relatively soon. Should make it back though, I think, before I get especially wet. Or usually we'll walk on the other side when I'm going this way. So this is a bit different than most walks. Oh, I could go down here. Let's do that. Because I've never done that. Just carefully down a fairly steep slope. And take the alley here, which I don't think I've walked along before. Well, that's actually my house, straight ahead, my old house. The little one there. So I guess I'll go this way. Funny, I don't remember there being an alley here, but clearly it was always here. Yes, the little one there with the white door. That's where I lived for when I first moved to this neighborhood in the very late 80s, more likely very early 90s. Oh, I guess the old one next to it is still there. I thought it was gone too, but this one here, there was an older one that's been replaced by a brand new one. Oh, that's my old house. It was fine for me to live in. I'm glad I don't live there anymore. But, as I said, if I hadn't got married, I might have ended up buying it, be living there still. Probably not. Not a huge fan of shoveling walks. Had I remained a bachelor, I think a rental place or a condo would have suited me better, for sure. I mean, I have to shovel the walks at the house that we live in now, of course, but that's different because it's, it's the family thing. Also, if I were single, I might not still be in Regina, who knows? That's the road not taken. 2 roads diverged in a snowy wood. A lot of equipment around here. Somebody working on the, oh yeah, one of the houses over there is a lot of work going on. Is it a new one? I've been in the one on the corner here, which is very nice. Is that a brand new one? I think it is. I don't remember what was there before, but I don't remember it being something that size. Well, now we'll go up the alley, because this is my old alley. It'll take me by my old garage. How exciting is that? My old garage, from which I had 2 bicycles stolen when I lived over here. They stole my bicycle. I replaced it. They came back and stole the replacement. Now I don't even have a bicycle, because the bicycle I got after that was also stolen, only from the garage at the house where we are now. Here they broke in. The garage of the house is more secure, but there was a problem with the door and it wasn't fully closed, and somebody came trolling for easy pickings and found that. And I see unstable internet again. Now let me think, which one is mine? Is it this one? Oh yeah. Well, they built a new garage since I lived here. That's not the old garage. Hello.
Hey, morning.
Hello. That's an interesting little camper over there. Oh well, let's stick to the garage. I stuck to the alley at least for a little bit here. We'll cut through the grass because we can. Oh, and there's a rabbit. 2 of them. I'm not chasing you. You don't have to run away. They're not very scared. I call them rabbits. They're really snowshoe hares, I believe. This has just been a bad internet connection day all around. I can only think it's got something to do with the thunderstorms in the neighborhood. The vicinity, I should say. Because this is unusually bad. Anyway, almost done. This half has been 22, and I think the first one was 27 or something, so it might be a little shorter than some, but not bad. I'll take the alley up to Angus' cousin. This is an interesting old house. It still has the original garages. Cars must have been narrower back then, because the original garages have, by modern standards, very narrow doors. Some nice sunflowers and other flowers, poppies it looks like. Some pansies. I've been in that house, but it was a different color. Someone I knew was a singer, musician, lived there. I sang in an opera with her in a musical. Renee Brad. Pretty sure that was her house. As far as I know, she's still performing, but I haven't looked her up recently. Of course, well, she was younger than me, so most people are, the way it's starting to feel. I used to always think I was the youngest, because having skipped a grade in elementary school and having a summer birthday, I was usually a year and a half younger than my classmates all the way through school. Right up through high school. I graduated, I hadn't yet turned 17. But as you get older, more and more people are younger than you, and it's very disturbing. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. About the time you need reading glasses, which is the other really annoying thing about getting older. Okay. We'll stop on this corner. So I'll stop here because that looks nice. Thanks for walking with me. Sorry about the 2-session walk, but I don't control the internet. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.